Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the GRP episode 104. Back with Infinity. He's hanging out again because we have fun. And
There it
he's
is.
got time, so it's nice to have somebody to talk to. So anytime I can have him in here and I have the ways to get it done, I'm going to do it. So I appreciate you for being here again. How you doing?
Good. Appreciate you. Obviously we're gonna get into this weekend, but doing all right, healing up good. Things are looking okay. Feeling real good right now.
Good. It's always good to know things are going well when you have something like an injury and stuff like that. It's like, as long as nothing's getting worse, then we're good to
Yeah.
go.
And life goes on regardless, so
Yeah.
you gotta figure out what you're gonna do and do it.
Yeah, I was on the verge of thinking I might have to cancel everything tonight. I was like, damn, my head
Yep.
hurts so bad. It was, and I don't even know why. Like, I felt it around like noon, and and every day this week I've had a headache at some point, and it's been like either mild or it's been kind of tough, but it
Yep.
hasn't lasted long. But yesterday I had a headache for about like 2 or 3 hours, and it was
hmm
like mid range, right? Like it hurt, it was annoying, but it wasn't crippling. Like today,
Yep.
it was damn near crippling. Like I thought I was gonna throw up on the way home from work. My head
That
hurt
sounds like a
so fucking
migraine.
bad. Well, yeah, I get migraines. That's a problem.
Yeah,
So
I've been there before. Well, the weather's changed a lot too, so the pressure and sinuses, all that's connected. And a lot of people don't even think about that.
yeah, and I've had all kinds of stress from fucking work this week, and I've been like a million miles a minute. And I know I say
Yeah.
that a lot, but it really happens a lot, so it sucks. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
grateful to have a job and pay and all that
Oh, it
good
could
stuff,
always be
but
worse.
dude, yeah, but stress this week, holy shit. So
Yeah.
that's probably, I mean, I probably brought it on myself. I don't know how to turn it off. I went and laid down and tried to sleep it off, and I slept for like 15, 20 minutes. And granted, my phone was going crazy, work shit, but
Yeah.
and I didn't like it was on vibrate, so I heard it vibrating over and over. That's what woke me up, and then I was like, my brain was like this again. So I was all, well, I might as well get up. I got up, took a shower and stuff, and I'm like, all right, I feel a little better, and it's been okay the whole since then. So
Hey,
let's just hope
gotta
it
do what you
stays
gotta
better.
do.
Yeah, because dude, headaches for me are not good. I think I inherited that from my mom. She gets real bad migraines as well. So
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah, but anyway, enough of that.
Hey, and
What
another one.
what else you been doing? Anything else been going on since
I've
you?
been trying to clean up my front yard because there was some storms, like some pretty decent storms out here Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
and I have a little weather station thing out back. It's not very big. It's just I screwed it in the side of the house. I can see the temp. It's cool. I saw 25 miles an hour on that thing, and that's
Oh
not even
shit.
at the top of the house. So I
Yeah.
don't know what it actually was, but all I know is I got a front yard full of a tree with no leaves on it.
Damn.
So yeah, that's on my to-do list, and I'm still healing up, so I can only stand on it and
It's
do
slow
certain
going.
things. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to carry like a whole tree stump. It's
No,
not that I
don't
can't,
do
but I
that.
can't balance the damn
Yeah,
thing.
don't
So
do that. You're gonna hurt
and then it was
yourself and
100 exactly, and it was 114 today. So I was out there
oof.
trying to cut pieces off of it, so I can because I got a homie that's gonna help me like cart parts of it out because he's got a truck. Some I threw in the garbage. I know you're whatever. I don't do it often,
Yeah.
but
Who
I
gives
got
a
to do
shit?
something with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the pieces I threw in there, but my saw overheated. I was like, "You really? This is
Oh,
what we're doing today?"
it's
And it
that
was
hot.
hot, hot. Yeah, the
Yeah.
batteries were hot, the motor. I was like, "All right, well, that's my sign. I'm
Yeah,
good
it's
for
supposed to
now."
cool off with the air outside and around it in the environment. And when that
Yeah,
air is not cool, your tools
exactly.
are not
So
gonna.
if that air is hot, then
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're just
So
pumping more hot air in that shit.
pretty much. So yeah, I did that. Ran a few errands, and starting to plan on this weekend.
Right on. Yeah, yeah, we're the watch party's happening this weekend. I have a little graphic, so we'll discuss that when we hit it at the end of Combat Sports News. That's what I like to do is I'll leave it for the end of Combat Sports News and we'll talk about it. But I am saying right now because I already said it, it's fucking happening because it has to happen. So, but yeah, I mean, I went through process of making a graphic. So, we'll hit it then. Let's see what else. I was trying to figure out some new things for the pod just to change things up a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially because, while you're able to, I'm going to have you on here, a lot of times. So I was like, I wonder if there's something else I could do. And then with the way this week is gone, it keeps popping in my head. So that's how I know I got to come up. Something's there. It's at the tip, it's at the
Just
tip
got to
of the
get it
tongue,
out.
and I haven't been able. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like right at the edge, and that idea wants to, it wants to come out, but I haven't been able to do it. So I was just like thinking of extra little things or even new things I can do in general. It's always a process. I just like to make sure I keep innovating and
You got to stay fresh. You
Yeah.
got to keep people interested. You got to keep yourself interested too.
Yeah. And that's the
Because
thing,
it's easy for anybody to get bored.
and I tell myself all the time, like, don't make it hard on yourself. You're always trying to change things and make things different. And it's like, yeah, but that's the challenge. And I have things to a point right now where I know what it takes. I know what it takes to prep, and I know what it takes to get the show together and ready and done and able to do it on time and start, But
Just got to find your balance.
yeah. So like right now I know that, and I know what it takes, but then if I change it up, I know it'll take a little bit to get used to, and then I'll be back in the same groove. So I don't know. I'm just trying to see what kind of ideas I come up with and what kind of stuff I can.
I've seen them get better, not worse. So as long as you
Well,
keep whatever formula you're using, I think you'll be good.
yeah, I definitely want to keep the base level of what I'm doing, and yeah, just incorporate other little things here and there that can just hold
Because I
attention.
see your
keep
clock
interest.
back there still loves you, so some
Yeah.
things won't change.
It has not been messed up. Actually, did it? No, it hasn't been
Yeah,
messed up.
008.
It looks that way. The 7, see, it's that clock shitty. That 7 it'll fix itself in a few. For some reason, when it hits 7 o'clock, it looks like a 0. I look at it and it looks like a 7. So it's just on the screen. But it'll like that little piece. I don't know. It's weird. You'll see it this weekend. You'll see what I mean. It's just I actually saw some other ones that I was like, I'm gonna switch that piece of shit out. I bought that on a whim because I had bought all kinds of other stuff, and it was one of those buy one more thing and get free shipping. I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
So you got you a Temu clock. All right,
It's a TikTok clock, actually.
Same difference.
Yeah. I've actually bought a few things on TikTok that I've been like pleasantly surprised with, and yeah, I'm surprised.
I get that. I've bought a few and they still work. I'm like, oh, I got a gimbal for my phone that actually follows you around the room, and it was like $30.
Nice.
I don't know where it's made, and I'm not asking, but it works.
I know where it's made.
I can guess, and you probably got a button for it, but I'm just gonna leave it at that.
And because we all know where it was made.
China.
There it is.
I have to play it because it's just too funny.
Ding, bing, ding, ding, ding.
We're not going that far though. But yeah, like my Arzopa monitor, I would have never got that had I not seen it for a damn good deal on TikTok, and that thing's been flawless. So
hey, it's working. Even if you
Yeah.
get 2 years out of it, you didn't pay much for it, so
For sure.
even better.
for sure.
So that's awesome. What else is
Yeah,
going on
and-
with you? How's Tucson treating you?
Dude, it's been hot as shit here too. I know you guys get hotter, but damn, it's been hot.
Mhm.
That 104, 106, 108. Next thing you know, it's 110. You're like, God damn. when's
Add
it
a
gonna
1 in
stop?
front of that. That's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Well, and then today, like, I was a little worried because all of a sudden, when I was in here finishing up prep stuff, it all of a sudden just loud ass thunder starts fucking just pouring all out of nowhere, and then it just stopped. So I was like, well, that's good because then I don't have to worry about the power going out or some stupid shit like that.
exactly.
So
That'd kill the whole show for real.
yeah, and that's happened once before, I think. But yeah, you never know when it's monsoon season. It's like shit.
Exactly.
I definitely don't have anything on a backup here, so I like that
This
background
station
though.
is, but this one,
Yeah,
I thought you might get a kick out of it.
yeah, that's dope.
Let's see if I can not roll over my dog's tail.
That's the good part
That's
about
the
having a
ESPN
green
Plus.
screen. You can do stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's cool. And I've actually been looking at the green screen since we talked about it. So whenever I do go out of town, I might mess with that. And
I've got one that fits like in a duffel, and it's yeah. In the other studio, that's where the smaller one is at.
yeah,
This one's not even all the way expanded, so I'm happy with it.
yeah, it looks good. And every background I've seen so far
Appreciate it.
has been good. So,
Figured out the lighting and how much bigger you need to make it. So
and that one's cool too because it actually has the lights in the picture and it almost looks real.
almost.
I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Like, what you know about that?
Right? What the hell's that shirt you got on?
Oh, this is Einstein. I felt a little smart today.
I see it.
So I figured I'd put on Einstein, and it won't clash with anything else I've done like the last 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I didn't bring a green cup in here that just looks like I'm hiding my face. So
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing about the green screen stuff is you got to be careful with what you're wearing because then you turn into a green screen too.
Pretty much. So, and I see you got an End of the AM shirt. I think I have that one. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the pill bottle.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like one of the first ones I got. That's probably one of the ones that drew me in because it's just a dope design, I think.
It is, and it says so many things and nothing at the same time.
Yep, and that's kind of what I like about all their shirts. You know, they do tend to lean in the direction of like astronauts and space and stuff.
Yeah,
but I kind of like it because then a lot of it's real psychedelic type, like hints of psychedelic stuff.
Exactly.
There's a lot of color and a lot. You know, if you get like me, I get all black shirts, but then that color pop that they give you, that's nice, and it goes with a lot of the hats I wear too. So that's why I like them. And then they just fit good. They're comfortable and they fit nice.
They fit well. Yeah. That's why they cost what they do. I mean, they have sales, but
their sales are pretty good. Shirts. But yeah, you buy like 5 shirts and you're paying $100. You're like, damn.
Yeah, but they're gonna last you for a while.
Exactly.
And they're nice and bright. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean it's actually not that much when you think about it.
It's not for a quality tee, and like people like you and me wear tees almost every chance we get. So might as well have a decent one.
Yeah, that's why I buy fitted hats too because they last. You can clean them and they hold up. Like I noticed, I just don't like the feel of snapbacks. I just never really
I don't like the feel or the look.
Yeah, so I mean, and I feel like they fall apart easier. You know, they're not as thick and like kind of quality.
Yeah, like when that trucker phase was going on, I hated those hats. I was like,
I never did it.
What do you want, a John Deere hat or what? Like
the last time I wore a snapback was like Little League Baseball.
Oh yeah, that's different. The whole team's doing it.
Yeah,
yeah, I feel you on that.
Or high school baseball, I should say, because our high school sucked, didn't give us fitted hats. But
well, yeah, you get what you pay for sometimes too.
Yeah.
So you got go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
Oh, is that an old fashioned you're nursing over there?
Yeah. I got that, and I got my backup because I have so many of these right now. So I'm just going through them.
Freaking case of them.
Yeah, I did. I bought like a 12-pack, and I was like, I thought I ran out, and then there was like 4 or 5 more sitting on the ground next to the refrigerator. I was like, oh shit, put those in the fridge. So I have some randos. I got that. I got I think a couple more of the high noons, and then of course I always have twisteds. So.
Yep.
And then I have my big drinks that I'm waiting to test out for the shows. We'll see what happens this week.
I know that feeling.
We'll see what happens tomorrow because it's we don't know how
tomorrow or Saturday
or Sunday.
Oh, Sunday
for trying out drinks.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for my mute button.
No, Saturday. I you have to drive, so like I get that you don't have to go hard, but yeah, it'd be cool to.
I'm not gonna talk about that on here, but we'll have fun.
Well, there's gonna be plenty of time. I'm just saying it's not like you can just.
No, I know. I'm thinking if you start early and then taper off.
Exactly. But yeah. So anyway, let's get into it because we got plenty to talk about. I mean, there isn't as much as last time because there was a lot to talk about last time, but we definitely have some good combat sports news stuff to talk about and other news to do with the podcast, and then going over last week's fights and this upcoming week's pay-per-view, which is going to be fun. So let's just get into it. And I did add the music this time, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay, go for it. Cool.
Yeah, I figured, since you didn't mind, and I've never done it with a guest, so I figure hopefully it's not too distracting. And you can hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it, and You ever seen a dog in the ring before?
Oh shit, yeah. I didn't even see it right away. I was like,
I
what
was
the
like,
hell?
what the hell's on my arm?
I was looking at the fact that the blue on the ESPN Plus right there in the middle looks like the power slap thing in
Matches
the
the
back.
power slap. I saw
Yeah.
that too.
That's funny. So here's the first portion of the news is that Paige VanZant, if you didn't know who that was, that's who that is. Former UFC fighter, former BKFC fighter, former, I don't know. She was
OnlyFans?
boxing in Misfits Boxing is where we saw her last. And now she's doing Power Slap, the Power Slap League. I've never covered it. I've talked about it randomly here or there. If anybody out there is watching, if you've watched it, let me know if you like it or not. But here's the thing. I've never even really watched it. I've seen some clips here and there, but I try to not even stop on it's big on TikTok, right? I try not to even stop and watch them so that it doesn't get in my algorithm because it's annoying. Power slap is one of those things where I feel like you can't defend yourself. You're taking trauma to your head for no reason, and that's what people repeatedly, exactly. And that's what people say about fighting, but you have a defense mechanism. You can defend yourself. You can dodge, duck, dip, dive. You know what I'm saying? You could do all that shit. Don't spit your drink out.
No, can't afford that. But yeah, you could definitely dodgeball the hell out of it.
Yeah, but you can't do that in power slap. You got to put your hands behind your back. You got to hold the little fucking pool noodle, and you got to take that slap. And some people might think, yeah, and some people might think, oh, yeah, take your shot like a man. But it's like, why? When you can block things, that's called strategy. That's called, talent. And
that's what people train for, to not get beat in the head so many times.
Yeah, and instead you're just taking shots to the head for no fucking reason. And I mean, some people might be used to that, but
nope. Nope.
I know I'm not, and I'm not doing that. So
hell no.
Yeah. But Paige VanZant, maybe that's what she likes. Maybe she likes it rough. Who knows? But she did sign a contract, and she is fucking slapping bitches and getting slapped tomorrow.
And getting paid. Well,
and
hopefully.
getting paid. You damn sure better know she's getting paid, and that's why she's doing it. But it's not like she needs the money either. I mean, it sounds like to me she makes plenty of fucking money on OnlyFans because that's what she's known for now, more than anything. But what do you call it? She basically, like, I don't want to say I don't think she wants the attention. Well, she likes attention, but I don't know.
I think she's doing it to keep her name out there and stay relevant.
That's the best way to describe it. I was trying to find
because we're talking about it right now.
Yeah,
which means other people are talking about it, and they might not really be fight fans, but they say they see a cute chick getting slapped up for God knows what reason.
Yeah,
it's still, as long as your name is being talked about, it's a great commercial.
Right.
Painful, but a good commercial.
And that's what I was trying to do was like I'm not trying to be disparaging completely because I don't like power slaps, so she's doing something I don't like. So I guess that's really all I can say. But it's her choice. It is what it is. And like you said, it's keeping her relevant. That's the biggest thing. That's the main point here. And she can do that by continuing to do her OnlyFans like she does, because that definitely garners attention. But that's not keeping her relevant in the combat sports world. So this is. And she said it herself. She considers herself a gangster, and she and she said she can a bitch can do what she wants. That's what she said.
They can get them veneers slapped out too,
right? And I mean, that's what people were saying, and that's the biggest thing. But that's what people said when she was fighting too. It's like, oh, you're so pretty, you don't mess up that pretty face, and blah 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 blah. But she's a fighter. That's what she is. So when it comes down to it, if that's what's in her nature, then let it be. So I guess we just let her do her thing. That's all we can do. So and I mean, I enjoy I enjoy watching her fight sometimes, but I feel like she kind of plays above her level. Like she kind of thinks that she's better than she is, I think. And I don't mean like she's delusional. I just think that she has a lot of confidence. She's done a lot of big things in combat sports, but she was never a contender really, and she never fought for the belt. So what can you really say? I mean, her record's not the greatest. And, you know, she fought in BKFC, and I think she fought twice and lost both times.
Yeah, recently,
so, yeah, it's like, it is what it is. And then boxing, it was a tie. It was a draw. So, I mean, she can't say she lost. She did fairly well against an influencer boxer, though. So,
yeah, that part.
That's the part, too. So, and just because I don't want to pick up my phone, I'll just tell you, it comes across a little lower, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I noticed that before, too.
It goes like this. So I was like...
And I think that's the... I also have it fading out, so it seems lower when it's going out, and then when it starts over, it kind of comes in a little hotter, I guess.
Yeah, it's all good.
So,
got to figure it out somehow.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I know you notice these things, so it's good for you when I hear it from you, so I know kind of where we're at. But that's why I didn't want it to be distracting too, because I don't.
Oh, it's not distracting, but I don't know what it sounds like going out to the audience either.
Yeah. So if that's the other thing, and we're just so everyone knows, we are talking because I don't really care. We're talking about the background music. That's what we're talking about, because I've never wanted to have the background music going with a guest because I don't want to distract them, and I don't want it to be like overwhelming, like there's too much going on. So if they're trying to listen to what I'm saying, I know other people are that way. Like it's easy to catch their attention like that, but you're like me, where you listen to everything that's happening and you're paying attention to all these little things, and it's not distracting for you because you actually like to know what's happening. So
yeah, it's all
so
good.
it makes sense to do it here. And since I brought it up to you and you said you didn't think it would be distracting, that's why I was like, cool, well, we'll try.
Oh, you're good. It's not bothering me at all. She's more distracting than that is.
Well, I saw this picture too, and I was like, well, that'll be eye grabbing.
Yeah. Now after the slaps, I don't know. When she looks like a crash test dummy,
and that's what I'm wondering, how she's gonna come out of this, because you look at bare knuckle and she didn't get tore up. Like honestly,
well, you can block and bob and move, and you know what I mean. You can protect yourself.
Her knuckles were horrible. Like she looked like she had mittens on. I think I showed you that picture.
Well, she's still got fat knuckles. Look at the pen.
She does, and you got to think though, she's punching shit all the time, so that's probably why.
And that's why that main knuckle is huge as hell.
Yeah, that thing protrudes like crazy.
Right. Most people look at the face though, so we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this is the event happening tomorrow night. She's fighting that person. So Power Slap 8. It's a bantamweight match, I guess. Same.
Why does weight even? Never mind.
Because you can't have a gigantic, huge bitch slapping the shit out of some petite little girl.
They do overseas. They slap people into another realm.
I know, but you know, they gotta keep it cool, I guess. So I don't know. I've never watched any of this, so I don't even know who these other people are. I only know Paige, and so that's the only reason why I'm even covering this. So it is what it is. That's what we're gonna go with.
She ain't gonna look like that after this.
Yeah. Well, I might watch just her match just to see what happens. It'll be the first time I've ever tuned in to a Power Slap event, but apparently it's live and free on Rumble. That's what it says.
That's the reason why it's free.
Yeah, and they do it for the clips. That's what Dana says. So, I mean, I guess it's pretty popular from what he says too. So, he did scale it back. He did scale it back a little bit by saying that it was 5 times more popular than all of the mainstream sports put together. He did kind of backtrack on that a little bit and realize that he was kind of going a bit outlandish with that.
Yeah, that also depends on where that he's comparing these numbers at.
Yeah. Well, apparently he was just comparing numbers that are on TikTok especially. So, but all social media platforms, I guess.
Whatever you got to do. They get monetized off everything they do anyway, so.
Yeah. Yep, so that's the Paige VanZant news, Power Slap, something I never cover. Here you go. If you ever wanted me to cover it, Magix, There you go. I'm covering it, okay? And he wanted to do a watch party for a Power Slap event. This would have been the best one if we weren't already doing it for Saturday night. Like if this was not a pay-per-view weekend, I would have said, let's fucking do it tomorrow night. But I'm wanting to get Saturday done, and that's a bigger event, so we'll do that.
Absolutely. Especially
Speaking
for
of
true
UFC
fight fans.
303, we're going to get into the actual injury. Now, I know looking at dude's nasty feet on screen is not fun. Some people like it, but that's not what we're here for. But I have to show it because you have to understand and know what his injury was. So it's a pinky toe, right? But you got a lot of people are downing on it. But here's the thing: they say if you lose your pinky toe, you lose balance, you lose stuff from your equilibrium, kinda. You lose a lot of different things from just a pinky toe. I don't know if that's true, but all I know is I banged the fuck out of my pinky toe on the edge of my bed one time. It hurt like a bitch. I don't know if I broke it. It was pretty damn purple, and I could not walk right for a little while. But I'm also not a high level fucking elite athlete like he is. So is this legit? I don't know. I mean, what do you think? You were shaking your head.
I'm saying no, because people that have injuries besides just stepping or kicking on some shit, your big toe is most of your balance and equilibrium. That's why if you lose a big toe, there's actually people that have had transplants that's like equivalent to a thumb.
Yeah.
Because that's where your balance and push off is. The pinky toe is damn near decoration.
That's what I've heard too, and I've heard people argue it over and over and over again that your pinky toe is almost not as, but almost as important as your big toe for your balance and everything else.
I haven't heard that. I've broken mine before, both of them, because me and my brother doing dumb shit when we were kids. But
right.
I also wasn't getting in a ring either. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The only other thing I can think of is, okay, you're doing crazy shit in a cage barefoot, and you could get stepped on. Which they get worse shit happen to them in the middle of a fight, but also they're kicking. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it takes away one of your weapons if you're walking gingerly on it, you might not want to kick with it. But
I mean, they also go in there with broken ribs and don't tell anybody. So
true. So
there's a lot more vitals in this area than there is down there.
And this is where
this is nature,
leading us directly where what I'm getting to. So this is what he said. He said the injury is a nuisance. It's painful. I'm not gonna lie. It's very, very painful. Probably even more than the leg. Which he's talking about having a compound fracture. Now, don't get me wrong. He was sitting in the cage talking mad shit while his leg was completely broken. Unlike everyone else who we've seen happen. Yeah, where Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, those guys were in pain, agony, screaming and crying in the cage. Conor was sitting on his ass against the cage talking shit on the mic. So he did handle it better. And he did have a pretty serious fucking compound fracture, right? But he's saying that this pinky toe injury was worse. Come on, Conor.
Yeah, I can't get with that.
Yeah, I mean, that does not.
But that goes with what we talked about last week when I said that he's working his way out of combat sports and more of other stuff.
He has more to lose because he hasn't fought in so long and he hasn't won in so long. But Conor, I have to use your words against you.
Get your fucking shit together, my God.
I mean, really, dude? Like, your fucking pinky toe. And here's the thing. He said, I'll tell you why, when he said that's the truth about his pinky toe being worse. He said the leg was at least wrapped up. I couldn't access it, but you couldn't walk either, you dumb fuck.
Right.
The foot is just still there. It's like it's exposed or something. It's a bit painful, but it comes with the territory. Shut the fuck up, Conor.
I drove for 45 minutes with no Achilles tendon. Dude, shut up.
There we go.
And I'm significantly older, and I'm nowhere near in that kind of shape. So, bruh.
And he doesn't want. He knows he's at the tail end of his career. He doesn't have to fight anymore. So I give him props for even getting in there and wanting to still do it. But I mean, just be fair, be truthful, be like, fuck it. I have an injury. It may not be the worst one in the world. I understand that, but for me, this is just not what I want to do. I don't want to get in there compromised. I don't have very many fights left. I want to make sure I'm 100% all the time. Now, he kind of said that here and there.
Too cocky for that. He's not going to say that.
That's the point. That's exactly it. He's kind of said that, but at the same, he never once said, I'm at the tail end of my career, I only have a few left.
Nope.
He never said any of that. But, you know,
Nope.
people would have been like, oh shit, Conor's not going to be around for too much longer. But the writing's on the wall. We see it. He's got too much money.
The writing's on that damn pinky toe.
Yeah, he's got too much money, and he hasn't fought in how long because of that injury, and he hasn't won. And even, I mean, it's just crazy, man. So that, there's nothing else you can really say. That's what it is. But here's where the hypocrisy comes in. Here's where the reason why people are downing on him about this, because look at his toe, right? But he did this too. I couldn't really find a good picture that I wanted to go with all this, but here's the thing. In 2022, RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, said, you're either a BMF or you're a sucker puncher. Can't be both. Dana White, time to hand the belt to me, right? Because Conor was like, while Conor says, pulled out with a sore toe in what would have been the biggest fight of your bloodline's existence, past, present, and future, you are never eligible. So this is him talking shit to RDA for the exact same shit that he has right now. But RDA broke his entire foot, not just his
there's
toe.
a huge difference.
And there was like this big on top of his fucking foot, and there was a picture that shows that. But anyway, that's just background of what happened, because RDA was supposed to fight Conor, and then he pulled out. So that was what the whole deal was. That's what it was all about. And yeah, now Conor's just like, oh, well, you know, my toe. So it's kind of funny that he just completely contradicted himself within a matter of years.
He basically talked shit to his own self.
Yeah, because everything he said in the past
That's happening to him.
is happening to him right now.
Exactly.
So I just thought it was dumb. I mean, it's so obvious and blatantly in front of your face exactly what he did and how it worked out. So it's kind of karma. But yeah. Here's the other funny thing. Alex Pineda broke his toes in his last fight. So he has 2 broken toes, and guess who's fighting this weekend? Guess who's fighting?
I'm just looking at that bottom right. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. He's, I broke my toe. See if it went back. They were trying to pull it back in place. Sorry, man. Last round, I was doing good. Thank God it was the pinky. I'm like, okay.
No comment, Your Honor.
His whole foot looked, I mean, these guys can't have the greatest feet in the world because they're always getting stepped on, kicking, fucking barefoot all the time.
They got some monkey paws, but he said, thank God it was the pinky. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. And now he's the one filling in for the guy who's dropping out because his pinky toe's fucked up. So
Funny how that works, ain't it?
Weird. Very weird. Yeah, I just thought it was funny and coincidental that all this is happening. So now let's hope that Pineda doesn't regret this decision, because he's coming off of just having the broken toes. He wasn't in training. He was over in like Australia or some shit, just fucking around, doing some kind of, you know, press stuff. And I don't know. He was over there when they called him to fight, and he doesn't say no. So, and a lot of times that doesn't pan out for guys who especially are the champs. Especially coming in against somebody. Yeah, Pineda's beat Yuri before, but you know, when Yuri's been prepped and waiting for a fight, and then Alex just got off a fight, hasn't really been training, gets called in the last minute, and is kind of injured. That's not a good combination. So we'll talk about that.
Paycheck though.
Yeah, for sure. And it keeps his reputation. I mean, he's that guy right now. But yeah, we'll get into that more when we hit that up. But for now, I just wanted to point out that he kind of has a similar thing going on that Conor has, and he's still fighting. So we see who's the man right now. So the only other thing going on in combat sports news this weekend is that PFL has a card happening tomorrow night as well. And that is PFL. It's the regular season, so it's like PFL 6 or 4. I don't know. They don't even change it up. It's the same thing. When you Google it, you have to Google the year next to whatever event it is, because every year it's the same event. It's just a change in the year. So it's weird.
Weird.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, because you distinguish the difference between event and most other combat sports events
Right.
because they have names or they have numbers and stuff like that. Well, PFL has numbers, but it's the same numbers every year. It's just reoccurring. So you have to Google it with the year. It's weird. But we got former UFC fighter Lorenz Larkin versus Alex Dominguez. What is that? I don't know. Ramazov. I mean, there's a bunch of dudes down here in the bottom that I don't really know, except for Pedro Carvalho versus Kai Kamaka. That should be a good one. Don Madge too as well versus Neiman Gracie. That should be good. See, it's weird. They got a lot of the fighters I actually know that are going to be at the bottom of that early card. Tyler Diamond versus Brett Johns. That should be a good one. Tyler Diamond's been a part of the MMA Roasted podcast before. He's guested on there a few times, so that's how I know who he is. But yeah, it's a pretty decent prelim card, and then you get to the main card, and yeah, go for it.
Be right back.
Yeah. And then the main card, we got Brendan Loughnane versus Justin Gonzalez, Logan Storley versus Luca. I don't know how to say that guy's last name. And then Magomed Umalatov versus Brendan Ward, and Gabriel Braga versus Bubba Jenkins. So that should be a pretty good main card. Bubba Jenkins has been a winner of the tournament, I think, before, or at least came in second in this PFL organization. And I mean, Brendan Loughnane has definitely been a champ, might still be. I don't know. The PFL has such weird ways of the way that they structure stuff. It's strange. You don't even really know who you gotta really look into it to know who the champs of what are. So looks like these are just featherweights and welterweights in this. But yeah, this is the PFL, and it is it's like a league. I've dove into it before. It's more like a league. They fight for points. I guess they don't allow elbows on the ground, which is strange. And what are the other differences? They fight for $1 million purse at the end of the season for every weight division. So I mean, but you have to accumulate points. They have a playoff. They have finals. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like structured like ball sports are. You know what I mean? With the playoffs and the finals and all that shit. But I mean, it's an okay league. They're the ones that took over Bellator, so they now have like two organizations in one, and at the moment they're still keeping the Bellator stuff going. But I don't know, they should just combine it all, call it PFL, and make it better. Get rid of this point system and season shit, and just do it like everyone else does, and try to be a good second to the best, because you're not going to overtake the UFC. It's going to be a long time before somebody does that. If ever.
For that.
Yeah. So that's the only other thing going on this weekend. It's International Fight Week. That's usually headed up by the UFC. So that's, the UFC is the main event of all of that. They're the ones that declare the International Fight Week and, headline all of it. But these are the other, competitions that are happening, other events. I mean, obviously Power Slap is branch of the UFC because it's Dana White's thing and everything like that. It gets promoted everywhere for the UFC. It's on the same platform and everything for streaming. So, but PFL is having this fight tomorrow night as well. For us, we got to make sure we talk about the Watch Party podcast coming up on Saturday, June 28th. Is it? No, 29th. 29th. The hell am I talking about? Yeah, June 29th, Saturday. Live 7 p.m. Arizona time, right here, this channel. Come here. We'll be live as soon as the main card starts, and Infinity will be here with me in studio. He's coming down to Tucson, and he's going to hang out with me and Clark here in studio. As of right now, Clark has said he's coming, so there'll be 3 of us in here, and then we'll have possibly Magix, but definitely Tommy in the room as well. So kind of the normal regular lineup, but Infinity will be here, and it'll be his first one since last time it didn't work out.
I'll be there live in person. I can't wait. Really, something different.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier, because he's gonna be driving down here, so we got to just plan accordingly and stuff like that. But it should be a good time. We're gonna be hanging out and and bullshitting around in the room, and Tommy's gonna be jealous because he's not gonna be here with us.
Unless he just magically lands a helicopter or some crazy shit in the front.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but
I don't know.
He'll be trying to enjoy himself. Yeah, he'll be trying to
me.
enjoy himself in the room with us over.
We can give him cheers.
Yeah, for sure.
A for effort.
So yeah, make sure you come back here to this same channel Saturday, 7 p.m. Arizona time. It'll be during, all you have to do is know when the main card starts for UFC 303. If you're watching that and the main card has started, tune in here. Don't listen to that stupid commentary. You don't need it. Listen to us react live to the fights. Watch along with us. I can't show the fights, obviously, because YouTube doesn't allow that, and I would get sued by the UFC. So I can't show the fights. So don't come here if you think that's what you're going to see. But you can watch the fights with us on your own TV, on your own accord, and listen to us live, react to everything as if you're here with us on the podcast. So if you like watching here, watch that too. It's going to be fun.
Literally. Just stream it in your ear. You'll hear us like, oh, he got knocked.
And then you can look over at your phone, at your tablet or your computer, whatever you're watching it on, and be like, oh, that's funny. Because they reacted like
talking
I did.
About.
Yeah, so this should be fun. Can't wait. It's gonna be good.
Yep.
I feel good about these fights too. But before we hit those up, let's start going and recapping last week's event in Saudi Arabia, UFC on ABC 6. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. Did you get to watch any of these, or did you just check out some highlights?
Briefly, like. Most of them didn't keep my attention, so I was like, they're cool, but they're not going to put up their big guys until this coming weekend.
Yeah, so. They were better the weekend before. I mean, I'm sorry, they were better than the weekend before. Yeah, but
weekend before was just it wasn't even grappling. They were just laying, taking naps and getting paid for it.
Yeah, and honestly, they like. There was still a lot of decisions on this card, so that's what kind of sucks.
Yeah, decisions are boring. That means it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. There was a lot of split decisions too. So sometimes that means it could be a very close fight, and that's why, and that makes it a little more exciting. But from what I saw, there was what's that?
I said not that weekend.
No, there was nothing that truly stood out to me, except for on the main card. And that was the best part, so that's why it was the main card.
Right.
It started off with a bang on the main card, but as far as the lower prelim cards, I mean, if you look, 4 in a row decisions, split, majority, unanimous, and split again for the first 4 fights of the night. I'm not even gonna try to say the names that were at the bottom of this card. But there was Renat Fakhretdinov versus Nicholas Dalby. That was a split decision. Fakhretdinov got that win in the welterweight division. And then we had Felipe Lima versus Mohammedajan Naimov.
Dejan Mustard?
Yep, that's what it looks like, except without the I. But it pretty much looks like Dejan. But Lima gets the rear naked choke here for the win in the 3rd round. So, I mean, shit, this fight almost went the distance, too. A minute 15 into the 3rd round, and Lima gets the rear naked choke, which you can see is pretty deep right here. He's got the elbow under the chin, too. So, homeboy was not getting out of that. So, that was a tap there. And that was probably the most exciting thing that happened in that undercard. Because after that, we had Nasrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon. That was a split decision win for Haqparast. And then we got into the more interesting main card, which actually had some action, like this fight, which I sat down and started watching right away because I was like, okay, cool, the main card's starting. I want to see the first fight on there for sure because I like Johnny Walker and I like Volkan Ozdemir. But I was like, if I know anything right now, this is not a good fight for Johnny Walker. And I was right because Volkan Ozdemir knocked him out in 2 minutes, 28 seconds of the first round. I mean, he basically knocked him out twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually saw
as
the
he
highlight.
was coming down, he was already out.
Yeah. And then when he was down, he caught a nice fucking shot again and put him out
Yeah,
completely.
just to make sure.
Yeah, so this is the shot that dropped him, and Johnny Walker like kind of fell against a cage, fell backwards, and as he was on his side, Vulcan did this shit and just took his lights out. You could see how bad his leg is. That's
Fucking
nasty.
soul.
So he's like half out here already, and he throws this crazy bowling shot with his fist and winds up giving the uppercut from hell while Johnny Walker's on the ground. And he didn't even need that shot, but he took it. And of course, Vulcan gets the knockout, and he gets to walk away with this fucking picture right here because his nickname is No Time. So he does this, and that's what that means.
No
and you
time.
can see Johnny Walker's laid the fuck out, and he was out.
He looked
cold.
like he had some Johnny Walker.
Yeah, too much of it. So yeah, that was an exciting way to start that card, which is good for the UFC considering it was in Saudi Arabia, and that's what they wanted. They wanted a big, exciting card. And even though it wasn't a pay-per-view, they still wanted a big, good card. And with the dropouts of Khamzat Chimaev for the main event, that was supposed to be a great fight, and then he had to drop out because of the sickness. So for this card to start this way was a good thing for the UFC, especially after all those fucking decisions at the bottom.
Boring.
Yeah, I mean, I hate saying that, but at the same time, I mean, it's true. Like your normal fan that's watching is not going to be happy with the decision unless it was an all-out brawl that you're going to see highlights left and right of all over social media, and I didn't see any of that from any of those fights. So that's how we can say it was boring. I appreciate and I respect the talent and the effort and struggles and sacrifices that these guys make, but man, sometimes it's tough to watch.
I respect the hell out of it. Like, I am in no shape to do that.
Right.
But at the same time, it's also considered entertainment.
Yeah, it's a spectator sport. So if you're not entertaining the spectators, it's tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's just like baseball, football, and everything else too. You know, there's boring games there too. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to make me stop watching. It's just that's the facts for this card. It's not as boring as last week's, but it was there for the undercard for sure. So yeah, that was that fight, and then we had Shara Bullet, Magomedov, this motherfucker. So I don't know. I mean, I think I talked about this last week, how he only has one eye, basically, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's why he only fights overseas, because there's no way they would clear him to fight in the States. And Dana White basically admitted that. They pretty much said, "Are we gonna ever see him in the U.S.?" And he's like, "You know what? There's some difficulties in making that happen, so we'll just keep him over here."
That was a political way of saying hell no.
Yeah. He's like, are you guys fucking crazy? He's not going to be able to fight in the States.
Pretty much. You never get cleared.
Yeah. So he fought Antonio Tricali, who was making his UFC debut, and he was supposed to have fought the week before against Ikram Askarov, but with the changing up of the fights and fighters and stuff for this card, that fight got dropped so he could fight, Askarov could fight Whitaker. And so now Tricali got, his debut fight on this card. Poor guy had to go to Saudi Arabia just to get his ass kicked.
I mean,
but it's a check. It's only half of the.
I don't know if it's worth it, but
yeah,
all the training and all the other stuff you had to do, and the nutrition,
but a lot of people are high on his talents and his previous fights and his abilities. So I mean, I feel like this is just a small setback. It's his debut fight. There's no way they're gonna cut him after that. He's fighting a tough opponent on a short notice. So they're gonna appreciate him for that. And Dana White actually said it in the press conference that he didn't get a bonus, but he was gonna get a bonus, basically is what he said. Yeah. So they're gonna take care of him. Usually when they do the discretionary bonuses, which aren't that discretionary when Dana White comes out and says it, but it's usually like 10, 15, maybe up to 25 grand, so that's what I've heard. So not too bad on top of his show money. He may not have got his show and win money, but he got his show money. So he gets that plus some other little bonus for making it in there, and it's good. It's all good.
He was there.
Yeah. But, I mean,
his
dude,
pinky toe didn't bother him.
Yeah. He didn't let the little piggies get in the way. But, dude, Shara Bullet, he's an animal, man. I mean, he looks crazy, and he fights crazy. And he definitely landed a lot. And got the TKO win. I mean, it didn't happen till the third round as well, but you know, it happened. At least he got a finish. It was good. It was a pretty good fight all around. There was excitement. There was it kept you entertained. And Sharp Bullet's just one of those guys that's I don't know. He's interesting, I guess. The way he looks, the way he fights, the fact that
definitely the way he looks.
yeah, the fact that he doesn't fight in the U.S. Everyone always has something to say about him, and he's doing well. I think, let me see, how many fights is this now? He's 13-0 overall, so he's undefeated completely. This was only his second fight in the UFC, so he's 2-0 in the UFC right now, but he's 13-0 overall in MMA. So he's had, you know, hasn't been beat yet. So that's what makes it interesting too. People always look at that and are like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, and I mean, he does everything with the punches, with the kicks. I mean, that's a flush landing shot right there to the side of his face. I mean, and he doesn't look like he's off balance. He gets power behind it. So
yeah, his form looks pretty good actually.
Yeah,
he's on the ball of his foot, so that's full rotation
for sure. So that, I mean, that's what helps with his fights and what's going to keep him on cards. And there is going to be a Abu Dhabi card coming up in probably, I think, October. So I'm sure he's going to fight there too. Probably. So yeah, that was that fight. And then we get to Kelvin Gastelum. Oh shit, I missed one. That was actually the KO shot right there.
Yeah.
So that's the shot that dropped Tricoli, and then he followed it up with like a knee to the body or something like that, and then maybe the knee came before. I don't remember the sequence, but this was the one that pretty much, you know, ended him. So that was the KO, the TKO punch that landed in the third round for the win for Sharp Bullet. Then we moved to Kelvin Gastelum, like I said, against Daniel Rodriguez. So Kelvin Gastelum missed weight. He was like, couldn't get under 180, so they were going to do a catch weight fight, and then they decided to just do it at 185 because, you know, Kelvin Gastelum can't, you know, stay away from the burritos and all.
Yeah, I'm thinking about one right now.
Well, I guess which I didn't know until recently, that he does some kind of YouTube show where he's like, it's called Missing Weight, and it's like him trying all kinds of food. I'm like, bro, you're just you're snitching on yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. It's creative because he's you know, he's working off of something he's known for, which is missing weight in the UFC because he can't seem to stay away from the food. But it's also too on the nose, and it's not good for your career right now, especially when
he's got to make up.
Go ahead.
He's got to make up the money that he's losing from missing weight.
Yeah.
You gotta do something.
Yeah, it's not good when the first time you fight after starting this show, you actually miss weight too. That is way too coincident. It's ironic.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so people have just been doing nothing but talking mad shit, calling him a fat ass and everything else, which, you know, it's not like he really is. It's just that he's not at the weight he's supposed to be fight at. So it's like, just go up to 185, dude, and keep yourself at a level.
If he did, he'd get his ass beat every week, though.
That's the thing. He's not big enough for that division, and that's why he likes to stay at 170. But he's missed weight so many fucking times, and they've already forced him one time to go to 185 and fight a few fights there to prove that he can make the weight. So they might wind up doing that again soon. But he did fight pretty well, which is what normally happens when somebody misses weight and the other guy still takes the fight. The bigger guy winds up winning, and that's what happened here. Kelvin Gastelum gets a unanimous decision win over Daniel Rodriguez. Rodriguez just kind of looked flat too. Like, he didn't look like he didn't know what to do with Kelvin, which is weird. But that's kind of how Rodriguez fights too. Like, he looks like your typical fighter with all the tattoos and the mean mugging and shit. But when it comes
minus
to
the bald spot,
yeah. When it comes to, when it comes to the technique and the, you know, the talent and the follow through of all of it, it just isn't there for him. So I feel bad for the guy because he seems like a cool dude, but and I'm sure he can whoop ass in the streets for sure. But when you get in the cage with these high level fighters, you know, Kelvin's a former champ and everything, so it's like, you know, not champ but contender. Was he an interim champ? I don't remember anymore.
I know that he was a contender. I know that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I think he even fought for the belt once or twice already. Yeah, he definitely fought at least once for the belt. I don't think he's actually been the champ though. But anyway, he is considered a high level guy. It's just he has the weight issues. So there's that. And then we get to the main event. Oh, I'm sorry, the co-main event. Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. So these guys, which I failed to mention last week, I kind of forgot the fact that they were former like sparring partners, like training partners. So, and they're kind of friends, I guess. I mean, they're both Russian, but they trained together a bunch, and they I guess were pretty good friends. And I guess the UFC kind of did them dirty, because during the weigh-ins, they did a face-off and they started arguing because one tells the other, I'm not sure which way it started or which way it went, but it's like, why did you ask to fight me? And the other guy's like, I didn't ask to fight you. Why'd you ask to fight me? And they're like, wait, what the fuck? And then they start getting into it. Like they wanted to fight right there. It's like the UFC just turned them against each other, which they've done it before. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, it was kind of funny to watch that happening. I don't know if you saw the clip of that.
I heard about it. It's a business at the end of the day, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you gotta.
You're padding people's pockets that are on the outside of that ring, not in it.
Yeah. Well, I guess Pavlovich, the guy in the black shorts here, he didn't get the memo that maybe this was a misunderstanding, because at the end of the fight, it went the distance, and it was another decision there. But I mean, you can see Pavlovich is a little bloodied up. Volkov definitely got the best of him, gets the unanimous decision win. And at the end of the fight, Pavlovich fucking he pushed Volkov, because Volkov came over to try to kind of talk to him, shake his hand.
Yeah.
And I guess he was bitter because he probably knew he lost. But yeah, it wasn't oh shit, I pushed the wrong button again. God damn it. I keep getting one button ahead of myself, and I made everything different colors and shit, and I forget. Anyway,
you need that other console.
Yeah. There's a kick he landed, and there's a nasty punch to the chin before he even bloodied him up.
Yeah.
But
That
yeah,
got some heat on it.
Volkov got that win, and apparently lost a friend in the process, because Pavlovich took everything way too serious and didn't want to hear nothing about it. He was like, fuck you, pushes him after the fight and everything. So I guess it is what it is.
Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah. He can't mix business with pleasure, apparently.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So, but yeah, then we get to the main event: Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. Did you get to? Yeah. I was like, I don't know if you got to watch this one, but
yes, I did. I think I even texted you.
That's right. We talked right after it, because this was
Yeah,
the daytime
I was like,
so it was a great way to end the main, for the main event and the main card. It was a great way to end it, so everybody gets to walk away in a happy mode and not say, damn, that was boring, because that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
You walk away from a decision fight and you're like, fuck, that I wish that would have been better. And instead, Robert Whittaker looked like the Robert Whittaker of old. Ikram Aliskerov was a late replacement because, like we talked about, Khamzat Chimaev couldn't make it for the fight, got ill, wasn't able to fight, and Ikram came in for the late replacement. So yeah, and it worked out well for Bobby Knuckles.
When he was coming down the walkway, he had that, almost looked personal. He had that look in his face like you didn't told him about his mom or something, but whatever it was, it worked in his favor.
Yeah, and he mentioned that I guess apparently he had some kind of fucking tooth infection or some shit. So apparently he was in the back like trying to make sure that he kept his attention on what he was doing, trying to stay intense, because he said that the pain was just crazy. So
when he came down there, you could see it.
Yeah, so he was like,
I mean.
He said he had to keep himself as pumped up as he could and keep that adrenaline rushing so he wouldn't think about the tooth. But yeah, he got a big KO here with this nasty uppercut, dude. He fucking took Aliskerov's head almost off his body.
Yeah.
So it was impressive, and I thought I was happy. I was fucking yelling at the TV. I was like, hell yeah, because I like Robert Whittaker. I mean, you could see this was right after the connection, and Aliskerov went out, folded, everything done.
Yeah.
And Robert Whittaker was hyped as fuck. He was feeling himself, and for good reason, because that was a hell of a knockout right there. So,
Isn't he coming off a 2L?
Whittaker, let's see.
He lost at least 1 or 2 before that.
No, he was coming out the win off of Paulo Costa.
Was he?
Yeah.
Huh. I could have swore. Either way, he took care of business that night.
Yeah. No, and he did lose a couple in a row before. But yeah, he's been kind of trying to work his way up. But he's had, he lost to Drickus last year at this time. Who's now the champ, by the way. So I mean, it's not that bad of a loss. It kind of looks good for you. It's like, well, I lost to the guy who became champ shortly after, so it's not that bad.
Right.
Whittaker, he's a former champ himself, and he's trying to make his way back up there to get a title shot. So, and beating Khamzat Chimaev was something that was supposed to catapult him there, but this was an impressive win over somebody that he should have beaten that way, and it just looks good for him. So I think he's going to definitely be in the short line, if not next, for the title shot. So it's good for Bobby Knuckles, because I like this guy. He's cool. I've always liked him. I do like Adesanya more, and when Adesanya won, I was happy about that. But Whittaker's just one of those guys that I'm like, fuck. If they fight again, I'm like, who do I go for? You know what I mean?
It was entertaining to watch, though.
It is. It's fun to watch.
It looked
both
like
of them
he
fight.
unlaced his shoes the way he uppercut. I was like, oh Jesus! Like you just saw a little ghost. Like
it's what we needed to the way we needed to end that fight.
Yeah. That I was watching that like out of the corner of my eye. I looked over. I was like, it looked like Mortal Kombat for a second.
Yeah, man. Finish him. Fatality.
Who
do we got? Cold Art Maker in the chat said, let's go. I don't know. Hopefully that's because you like Robert Whittaker too, because that's who we're talking about at the moment. And fucking, that's how I felt when I was watching this fucking knockout. Because, dude, I was hyped, man. Because I was like, okay, last fight, let's make it a good one. Blah, blah, blah. Just like Robert Whittaker, let's go. And then we see that nasty fucking uppercut.
Oh my God.
And watching how hyped Robert Whittaker was so dope.
I mean, he earned it. There was no question about it. There was no damn decision on that one.
No, not at all. That was the way to end it. That's what we needed for that event. And
I agree.
We got to walk out of there and know that it was a success. So that was UFC on ABC 6 in Saudi Arabia. It was during the day. Who wins in a street fight, me or you, in 6'3" and 180? What the fuck?
Who the hell is that?
I don't even know.
Is he talking about you or is he talking about me? Like, who is he talking about? Is he talking about Whittaker? Because you could end up like that damn video you just saw.
Right? Oh, who wins in a... See, you know where I'm from when I think it said Ina.
Oh, well, I didn't even read that. I was listening to you and I looked over and part of it's behind the little heart thing. So I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, let's see, you're 6'3" and 180 pounds, but how old are you, man? Because I'm kind of older, so I'm not gonna use that as an excuse, but
I'm not saying nothing about age, but I'm no younger than you. And I'm 5'10", so
yeah, I'm 5'11", so it's like I'm not very tall. I wish I was taller though. And I wish I was a baller. See, we're showing our age.
I don't give a damn.
Right.
It takes work to live this long.
All right, yeah. So that was UFC on ABC 6. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. Whittaker with the big TKO win. Let's move on to UFC. Oh, he's 21 years old, man. Come on. Here we go. UFC 303. Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska. Part 2. Alex getting that win the first round and the first time around, and this one's for the championship. So yeah, man, I'm pretty hyped for this one because this was supposed to be Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, and the only other... to himself. What's that?
I just said old pinky to himself.
Yeah.
Remember that movie Harlem Nights? He shot me in my pinky toe.
Yeah.
That's all I can think about every time I see that graphic.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I forgot about that shit. But yeah, I kind of feel like this card got better because Conor was kind of carrying the card. I mean, yeah, we had Ian Gary versus Michael Venom Page, and I was excited about that fight too. But that was really the only other fight I was like, oh, cool, that's a good fight. And the rest of it, I was like, damn, this is International Fight Week. We usually get crazy cards during this time.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem that big. But, you know, it's like, hey, Connor's going to carry it. Everyone's going to be here to see Connor regardless of what the rest of the card's like. And it seemed like who's the best boxer in the UFC? Max fucking Holloway is the best boxer in the UFC. He claims to be. I like to help him in that claim because yeah, that last knockout was dope. But if you talk about technical skills, I'm not exactly sure who I would pick. I mean, there's a lot of good boxers in the UFC, but a lot of them do MMA boxing, so it's tough.
Yeah, it's almost an oxymoron when you're saying boxing and UFC. Like, they're strikers.
Yeah.
But boxing is a different art completely.
Right. And the striking is, I mean, boxing is striking, right? But it's just a portion of it, and it's different. It's just like bare knuckle boxing, you know, they kind of do a kind of some dirty boxing because they let them clinch and throw. You don't do that in boxing. So I guess if you're talking about a boxer as in can throw hands, I definitely go with Max Holloway for his size and weight and what he can do. I mean, he's had some impressive performances, but there's a lot of people. I mean, Brian Ortega, who's fighting on this card too, he's a good boxer as well. I mean, for what he does, he's actually a ground fighter. He's a great jiu-jitsu guy, but he has some decent boxing. Who else?
Ooh. You know, one that most people will probably forget about would be the preacher's daughter, who started off in boxing.
Who was a professional boxer before she became. She's actually a professional boxer that's in the Hall of Fame.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, she has to make the list because she did it before it was really a thing.
Yeah,
and was
you know what's
knocking heads
weird?
off.
She took on more of the kickboxing style though when she came over to the UFC. She does a lot of those teep kicks. She does a lot of, you know, body kicks mixed in with the boxing. But she's definitely a great boxer. There's no doubt about it because, you know,
that's her roots.
Yeah, that's where she came from, and a lot of people don't know that. I actually forget that all the time too. But that's a great point. I'm trying to think of who else is considered a really good boxer in the UFC.
It's hard for me to cross them two because they don't usually cross well.
Well, and you know, I don't like Sean Strickland, but I mean, maybe Cold Art Maker is talking about Sean Strickland because he does have that Philly shell style, and he does do the shoulder roll. Yeah, and you know, he has a really good jab. I actually watched him sparring a high level K1 boxer or kickboxer too. I guess he was over in Japan or something, and he was sparring with this guy, and they got into it, man, because one of them went a little hard, and then they all went hard, and it got crazy. But I mean, as much as I don't like Sean Strickland overall, he is a pretty damn good boxer. So I got to give him his props. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you like him or not, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, and the fact that you asked that question, and that's one of the people that come into my head, I definitely have to give him his props on that one. So that's all I got for you, man. I don't have a specific. I would say if you made me choose, gun to the head, I would say Max Holloway but that's more striking. But I mean, he does box in a way, just maybe not like Sean Strickland, but I'll give him what he says. He says I'm the best boxer in the UFC. I'll give it to him. I like Max Holloway a lot too. So you tell me though. He said, who's a better female fighter, Amanda Nunes or Valentina? However you pronounce her last name, Shevchenko. That's hard to spell though. Yeah. That's hard to spell. But for me, I think Amanda Nunes is better than Shevchenko, even though Shevchenko's really fucking technical and has a really good footwork. And she does have power in her legs with those head kick knockouts that she's had in the past. But Amanda Nunes just wrecks bitches, dude.
Nunes is a bully.
Yeah, and if you saw what
she
did
to bully, she's just.
If you saw what she did to Chris Cyborg, who's one of the most feared fucking female fighters in all of MMA, but
she lost too much when she cut weight. She lost muscle mass
for sure. But I mean, she was still kind of at that level when she fought Nunes. I mean, if they would have fought a few years sooner, it probably would have been better for Cyborg. Maybe it would have been a closer fight. Yeah. But Nunes fucking picked her apart. So Amanda Nunes has really good boxing as well. So I got to give her that. But you know, she's at the moment, and good footwork. At the moment though, she's retired. So I kind of forgot, but she is looking at coming back because with Kayla Harrison in that weight division, you know, doing what she's doing already and what she's done in the PFL, that would be a really good fight. And they're former teammates too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Kayla Harrison, she was on Impractical Jokers too.
yeah.
And you can see what she really looks like besides the weight cut. She
Right.
is a fucking monster when
She
she's
is.
off season. I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit.
She's done judo all of her life. So
Yeah.
like she's constantly trained since she was a kid. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
she's fucking huge.
Yeah, hip
Anyway.
throws, all that shit.
Yeah. Back to UFC 303 though. I appreciate the interaction though. Cold Art Maker, let me know what you think about this fight card. Who you got in this main event, Piera versus Prohaska. We're gonna kind of go over all of it. You know, I usually like to just showcase the main card because otherwise we'd be here forever. What do you say? Do you think people from a background of wrestling will do good in MMA? I think wrestling is the best base for MMA from everything I've seen and heard people talk about and witnessed as far as when real high level wrestlers look at Bo Nickel right now. Bo Nickel is on a fucking trajectory that's so high it's crazy because he is one of the most decorated, you know, wrestlers to ever come into the MMA, into the UFC, I mean, and MMA overall. And he's doing well because he also developed a striking to be almost to the level of his wrestling. But, you know, I think wrestling is the best base for MMA for sure. What do you think?
I'm on the fence. I was listening to you break it down. I was like, yeah, I can see that, but they need to be light on their feet too. Wrestlers usually tend to be flat-footed,
Yeah,
and if they
tend to
can't
dig their
move
feet in.
around, then that's when you're standing up. That's a good chance to get your head knocked off.
Yeah, and you know, but you got to think too with wrestlers when you look at the actual art of wrestling, you know, the original style of wrestling, you got to think about the roundabouts that they take trying to get position on each other. That takes footwork, that takes agility, that takes balance. Yuri knocks out Alex. Okay. I mean, it is a possibility, and that's actually that's partly what I'm going to talk about when we get there too. So, but yeah, I think there's a good chance there. But I do think wrestling is the best base for MMA overall. You could be a boxer, but boxers aren't ever worried about the kicks. They're not ever worried about takedowns, and they're not ever worried about submissions. At least when you're a kickboxer, you have that hand-eye coordination, and you're looking for those kicks. So that automatically helps you look for those takedowns too. When you're a jiu-jitsu guy, you're looking for takedowns. The only problem is when you're too much on the jiu-jitsu side, you're not looking for those strikes. So that hurts them. So if you're just a wrestler or just a jiu-jitsu guy or just a boxer, you have a lot to learn, but you might have small advantages over the other depending on how, you know, what your level is. So that's just my thought.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So on this UFC 303 card, undercard, let's see, what are the Ricky Simone versus Vinicius Oliveira in the bantamweight division. That starts off the prelim card. Oh shit, we got Andrei Arlovsky still fucking fighting. No matter, I don't even know how old he is now, like 45. He's fucking 45 years old. His record is 34-23. That is 57 fights. Fuck, man. But he is on a 3-fight losing streak. So this might be the end of his career here if he loses to Martin Boudet, who he is fighting in the heavyweight division.
That happened a while ago.
What's that?
I said that should have happened a while ago.
Yeah. 3 fights. I mean, his last 3 fights he's lost, and that's never good. So he's fighting Martin Boudet in the heavyweight division. That's the 3rd fight in. We got Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie, fighting in the strawweight division versus Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson has good striking, but she's really, really good on the ground too, and has a lot of submission wins. Michelle Watterson is one of those kind of point karate fighters, and she just has not done well lately. And I say that Jillian Robertson has good ground game, but her last win, of course, was by TKO. But you know, that's usually what happens when I start talking about it. I think Michelle Watterson's on a pretty big losing streak. Let me double check. Yep, 4 losses in a row. So that's tough. Have you ever seen who Michelle Waterson is?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I've seen the Karate Hottie.
Yeah. She's pretty good looking, but she has not been on a good streak. It's a decision, 2 decision losses, and then a submission and a TKO in her last fight. So that was September last year. So, I mean, I feel like it'll be a good fight because Michelle Waterson's going to be hungry to get that win. If not, she might get fucking cut here. So, but Jillian Robertson is fucking tough. She has good striking, good ground game. So there's that. Strawweight division there. And then we have Peyton Talbot, who is one of the biggest up-and-comers right now. Is a pretty popular guy in the bantamweight division versus Giannis Gimori. I think that's how you say that. Peyton Talbot is 8-0 versus Gimori 12-2. So yeah, let's see who else we got here. Charles Jourdain versus Jean Silva in the featherweight division, and then another old school guy, Cub Swanson versus Andre Feely in the featherweight division. Cub Swanson's 29-13, but Andre Feely is 23-11. It's a lot of fucking fights between those guys. Cold Art Maker said, "Who's the greatest welterweight?" Does that mean either GSP or Usman? Well, if you're asking me to compare GSP or Usman, I would say GSP. I mean, Usman was pretty damn good in his day. I feel like he's kind of past his prime in his his championship times. But I would say
they're
overall,
both getting up there.
Yeah. Well, GSP's been retired for a while. So,
right.
But everybody likes to compare people in the welterweight division to GSP. I feel like Usman didn't have the reign that GSP had, and I feel like Usman didn't have the same quality of opponents, but it's a different time, so it's harder to say.
Yeah.
So, and it feel like when GSP went out, he went out on his own accord and then was able to come back and do it again and get a belt again, even though it was kind of tailor-made for him. But Usman, he gets that head kick knockout and wasn't the same after and hasn't been the same. So I feel like he's still a tough fighter and he's a good kind of gatekeeper type now over ever being a, like a champ again. So bless you.
Thanks. I hit the mute out. You probably saw me though.
Yeah. But you kept everyone from having to hear it, so that works. Because sometimes that gets loud. I fucking sneeze and I'm like way over here, and you can still hear it because I sneeze way too damn loud.
Ow! I'm sure my windows just rattled.
Let's see who else we got. And then the main fight on the prelim card, Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barrio, is that's gonna be a damn good fight. Joe Pyfer is a fucking beast. Big up and coming prospect that people were looking out for until he got his first loss in the UFC in his last fight. Unfortunately, people just turned on him quickly, talking about him, being a fraud and all this, that he was overhyped and all this shit. But it's like, dude, everyone's gonna lose at some point in time. I mean, not too many people retire undefeated like Khabib. So. No. But Marc-Andre Barrio is a pretty decent fighter as well. I feel like this should be a good fight to lead us into the main card. So, I don't know how much you paid attention to this card. Is there any big fights you're looking forward to on this main card?
Not really. I just glanced over it. We'll see what happens. There's nobody that stands out like, ooh, that one and that one. It's because some of them are pretty even, and it just depends on the night for them. So,
and what's funny
nothing seemed too like mismatched, or nothing was obvious like just a money grab. So we'll see.
Yeah, and if you look at the odds for all these fights, they're the odds are pretty damn close for most of them as well. So
you don't see any like plus 123s and all that crap like the last one.
Yeah, it's like that's pretty much like on the betting side, it matches up exactly with what you're saying. It's like they're pretty even fights. It's kind of pick'ems all the way around. So and I did make picks for this fight, and I did put the money signs next to it because I plan on betting, but I haven't made the bet yet because I ran out of time. But my plan is to bet on my picks. If I change them up a little bit, I'll let you know during the watch party, so don't forget to watch.
I might
But,
bet with him or against him just for fun.
There we go. So yeah, watch and see who gets to win, because somebody's got to win.
Someone has to win.
Because
one of us is going to get something out of it. I don't even have the app, but I'll get it just to play around with it.
and
I can
and
afford
Clark likes to
$20.
bet too, so
I'm not going to listen to him,
right?
because he's going to bet my money away. Nah, I'm good. But I like to play with it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Sounds like fun, really.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you just, throw $20 at it, spread it out a little bit, see what you get.
Yeah, that's not a life change. That's just something to do.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the main card here. We got Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Paige. Michael Paige was a big star in Bellator for various reasons. He got a lot of finishes. Now his strength of schedule is not the best. He didn't fight the highest level of, opponents out there. But he's definitely made a splash in the MMA world, and he went viral quite a few times for his knockouts and his celebrations. So,
yeah.
But Ian Gary is just a massive prospect right now. People are questioning him because of, outside influences of just drama and bullshit that's happening outside of fighting for him. But when it comes down to it, he's still in there fighting and winning. His last fight didn't go the way his previous fights went. Didn't get the crazy knockout or anything like that, but he's still undefeated. He's 26 years old and 14-0 overall in MMA, 7-0 in the UFC. 7 KO TKO wins, 1 submission, and 6 decisions. And he's on a 7-fight win streak, which really is 14 overall. But I count the ones in the UFC, so it's a 7-fight win streak. So he's undefeated. He's got something to lose here, right? I mean, anytime you haven't lost, it's a big loss when that first one hits, when you get to this many fights.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
some people don't even come back.
Exactly. That's the thing, is how do you handle that first loss? How do you make it back? What do you do? I mean, do you take another L the next round, but it's a hard fought one? Or do you come back with a big win and turn it back around and act like that L never happened? Which one?
Exactly.
It's how you handle it, I think. So if you can go your entire career going undefeated, that's great. But once you get that first loss, we got to see how you handle it.
Yeah, it does something to you mentally.
Yeah. So, I mean, Michael Venom Paige is 11 years older than fucking Ian Gary, but he's still got skills. He's a tall, lanky fighter. Another guy that's like a point karate type stance and fighter. He throws those quick shots, kicks and punches, and he likes to fight with his hands down. And that's
that's weird.
Yeah, I don't want to say confusing. It's concerning because it's like, how do you fight with your hands down and not get knocked the fuck out all the time? But
the main thing that saves him is his reach.
Yeah,
his hands are down, but you can't reach him.
Right. And he can with that reach, he can use it as a defense mechanism to get to you before you get to him. So, but Ian Gary's kind of the same way. I mean, they're pretty similar stature wise. It's just one's younger than the other and lighter skinned than the other.
Yeah, that's a small difference.
Yeah. So Ian Gary's coming out the win over Jeff Neal, who he talked mad shit about. Made a because Jeff Neal got pulled over and got a DUI like not even a year before they fought. So this motherfucker went out and made a shirt of his fucking what's it called, mugshot. Like an asshole. So that's why people are talking mad shit about him being a cuck, because his wife has her ex-husband like all up in the mix of their all up in the mix of their marriage and shit. So that's the bullshit background stuff I was talking about. But so I mean, Ian Gary's got something to lose here. Michael Venom Paige has only had 1 fight in the UFC, and he won against Kevin Holland. Wasn't overly impressive, but he did stifle Holland and make him, he shut him down basically, and he got some good shots in on him. So, but Ian Gary's hard to deal with. He's got those, those legs, those arms, just the long limbs, man, and he uses them to their fullest. So this is that last fight against Jeff Neal, landing this big knee.
Yeah.
Look how fucking white he is, Jesus. But he is. He is Irish.
He came down from the mountains.
Yeah. There's a big kick there against, again, D-Rod, just getting worked left and right. Unfortunately, this is why I say he looks the part. He doesn't play the part as well, though. But
about to get the ink beat off of him. He's about to look
dude.
like him by the time they're done.
Yeah, Ian Gary disposed of him fairly quickly. But Michael Paige, now interesting. Michael Paige, when he was in Bellator. Now this is crazy, right? This looks kind of weird or whatever. It's a flying knee that he landed. As you could see, he's also pushing his opponent's head down. Well, I don't know if you heard about this or saw it when it happened, but he actually cracked that dude's fucking skull.
Yeah.
And this
I did hear about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this
I
is
saw
what
that
happened.
too.
That x-ray at the bottom left is the cracked skull. You can see the dent in his head on the top left.
Yeah.
And then the middle pictures are after the surgery where they put the plates in his head, which is that bottom right picture.
Yep.
And then the top right is him healing. Insane. Now, this isn't the only time.
That is a lot of force.
Oh, yeah. And this isn't the only time Michael Venom Page has done something like this. The other one was a crazy kick to the knee that you would think would have hurt Michael Page more than it hurt his opponent, but it actually like indented his opponent's knee, like dropped his kneecap into his leg. It was gross, and the fight was over after that. I didn't add that one in here because I was like, this is graphic enough. But if you go look it up, Michael Venom Page, and you know his highlights, you'll see it. It's crazy. So his only fight in the UFC has been against Kevin Holland, which was March of this year. Got a unanimous decision win, but it was pretty impressive. I mean, he had some good hits on Holland, and a lot of people thought that he would have trouble with Holland's awkward style, but I think Michael Venom Page is a little more awkward. So
yeah,
he got in on him, landed, and got the decision win. So for this fight, I will, like I said, I'll have my picks at the end, but I'll try to remember to mention them as we go through these. I did pick Ian Gary in this fight, even though I think
that one.
I think Michael Page. Yeah, I think Michael Page has the potential to win, but I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with Ian Gary, much less be able to overcome what Gary has to throw at him. I'm not saying Ian Gary's more talented, but I'm saying I think that both their awkward styles are either going to cancel each other out and it's going to go to a decision, which favors Gary, I think. But if Michael Page wins, I think he's gonna catch Ian Gary and he's gonna knock him out. That's about the only way he's gonna win. Because if they go to the ground, Ian Gary's got the advantage as well. I just think Ian Gary has more advantages in this fight than Michael Page does. So that would be why I'm going with him. But that's for now.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Guess we'll see.
The next fight on the card is the women's bantamweight fight. This one's has potential to be a snooze fest. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Bueno Silva was supposed to be fighting for a title until she dropped dirty for a supposed tainted supplement. Not sure how that went, but yeah. So she lost that title fight. She's trying to make her way back in there. Macy Chiasson's up there in the rankings. So this is what is happening for this fight. I don't see too many fireworks happening here because neither one of these girls have ever really been in a crazy exciting fight. So it's just a run-of-the-mill kind of put the women on the card. What's that?
Something to see.
Yeah. But Mayra Bueno Silva is 10-3, and Macy Chiasson's 9-3. So they're the same age, similar records, similar breakdowns of everything when you really look at it. Bueno Silva's 7-0 in submissions though, but Macy Chiasson's 3-1. I mean, that's the biggest difference in all of them. If it goes to decision, Bueno Silva has a losing record in decisions. She is coming off a loss as well to Raquel Pennington, who is the current champion. So yeah, it's like Macy Chiasson is coming off a win. I mean, there's not a whole lot here. Like I said, Bueno Silva's really good on the ground. She has, more submission wins, never been submitted herself. So it's a nasty armbar right there. And then Macy Chiasson has some good striking. Big kick there against Polyana Viana. and oh no, was that Penn? Who the fuck was that? Oh, that was Norma Dumont. My bad. But she has her last win was against Penny VanZant. That was March 16th of this year. So she fought recently. Again, I don't remember because it's hard to pay attention to these sometimes.
I didn't watch it, but I don't see any kind of block happening at all. I just see face meet shin.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's lost against the more like the current champ. She has a loss against her, has a loss against Irene Aldana. The bigger names in this division, Macy Chiasson has lost to, and Mayra Bueno Silva, you know, is kind of one of the bigger names in the division. So that's why I'm picking Mayra Bueno Silva in this one, because it's a toss-up, but I'm gonna go with who I think is probably the favorite anyway. So let's move on to the light heavyweight division. Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Anthony Smith is a fucking grizzled vet. I'm surprised he hasn't retired yet, because honestly, he's lost a lot of fights, and he's just one of those guys has had a lot of fights and lost a lot of fights. 38-19 overall, 13-9 in the UFC. I mean, he's 35 years old, but so is Dolidze. But you can see the fight miles on Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
So he is coming off a win though over Vitor Petrino. That was a pretty good win with that submission. Before that, he had a loss, a win, 2 losses, a win. That's kind of how it goes for him. So that's why I say it's just one of those things. I don't think he's done 100%, but he's at that point where he's kind of like
not
back
far
and forth.
from it.
Yeah, and he's on the not on the commentating team, but he's like one of the analysts. So he focuses a lot. He's always at the desk and stuff like that. But he's fighting Roman Dolidze, again, 35 years old as well, but he's a lot less fights, 12-3 overall, 7-0 KO TKOs. So he's never been knocked out or TKO'd. Never been submitted. He's 3-0 there, but he has a losing record in decisions, 2-3. But so does fucking Anthony Smith. He's 3-4. So I don't see this going to a decision, because neither one of them like to be there, it looks like.
It doesn't work out for him.
It doesn't. So it's not in their best interest to go to a decision. So I'm sure both of them are going to be trying to finish the fight. Anthony Smith had that guillotine win in his last fight, so that was good. He is good on the ground, and he does have good striking, and he does have a decent chin too. I mean, it's like it's hard to finish the guy. So, but he just loses a lot. That's the problem. But Roman Dolidze is on a 2-fight losing streak. So I mean, this might be a decent fight for Anthony Smith to kind of make his way back. But Dolidze lost to Nasruddin Imavov and Marvin Vettori, both by decision though. So that's 2 out of his 3 losses. No, those are his 2 decision losses, were the last 2 fights. Yeah, because that's the only time he's lost by decision. So he's definitely going to be looking to not get a decision here.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like I always say, you get 3 losses in a row, you might get cut. So both these guys have something to lose here. Both of them are looking for a big win. So I think it might turn into a pretty good fight. And with that, I'm picking, which I feel kind of like I might switch this up, but I am picking Roman Dolidze at the moment. He is the favorite, I think, too. I don't remember. We'll find out when I show my picks. But for now, I'm going for Roman Dolidze. I might change it later. Tune in on Saturday to find out.
I suggest that. I see a whole lot of bets going sideways.
Yeah, because I might rethink some of this shit, and I might come to my senses.
I might bet against everybody he bets for. You never know.
Exactly, and that might be the best way to go, honestly.
Hey, we'll see. If he changes last minute, I ain't changing. But we'll see.
Now we move on to the co-main event. Getting to the end here. This should be a really good fight, I think. This is a featherweight fight between Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. If you followed either one of these guys, you know they're both really good on the ground. If you match them strike for strike, I think Diego Lopez kind of edges him out. He is the younger fighter, the up-and-coming prospect type guy. But Brian Ortega has a hell of a chin. Like, you can hit him over the head with a fucking rock, and he's going to get back up and maybe be wobbly, but he's still going to be there ready to fight. So it's tough to take that guy out completely. I'm not sure if you've watched any of his fights or Diego's
No.
fights.
I haven't, but decisions look like they work in his favor, so we'll see.
Yeah, and he's really good. He's a great submission guy. 9-0 in submissions.
Yeah.
He's 16-3 overall, and 8-3 in the UFC. So he is coming off of a win, but he's kind of had some bad luck recently. I mean, he's been in some wars, but he got that win over Yair Rodriguez. That's actually his last 2 fights were Yair Rodriguez. He got a loss the first one, TKO, but that was a shoulder injury. So they rescheduled that fight, came back and wins by submission by arm triangle choke over Yair. But Diego Lopez is the younger fighter. He's only had 4 fights in the UFC with only 1 loss. He's 12-0 in submissions as well. So neither one of these guys has ever been submitted for any of their fights. So that should be interesting, because if it gets to the ground, it's going to be fun.
Yep.
If you enjoy that kind of thing. I know some people think it's boring when they go to the ground, but I like to watch and see the positioning, the transitions, everything like that.
And how they get out of it.
Exactly. The
To
defense.
keep from losing by submission.
And or how they get up too. That's always interesting.
Yep.
So Diego
You can
Lopez
get up and get knocked out.
That's the problem. They may get up. They may get up and it might be impressive, but then they go right back down to the ground and they get knocked the fuck out.
Hi, Felicia.
Yeah. Diego Lopez is on a 3-fight win streak. He's 24-6 overall, 10-2 in KO TKOs, so that's a lot there too. I mean, if you look at Brian Ortega, his most is in submissions. He has a losing fucking record in KO TKOs, which sucks, and a pretty decent record in decisions. So who knows? I feel like this is either going to be a long, drawn out submission fighting on the ground, grappling type match, or somebody's going to get knocked out pretty quickly. So
Yes, we'll see.
yeah, but I mean, Ortega, again, good on the ground, always finds a way to reverse somebody or get them into a crazy position to get a submission. Here he is getting the champ, Alexander or the former champ, I should say, Volkanovski. And this was when Ortega almost got to become the champ, because no one knows how the fuck Volkanovski got out of this goddamn guillotine when his veins were popping out of his head and his head was about to pop like a
colors.
grape. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I don't know if you watched this one or saw the highlights, but holy shit, I can't believe he got out of it and survived it. It was at the end of the round.
Just looking at it.
Yeah, those veins in his head, man, it's crazy. But yeah, he's good at those guillotines, and he'll jump guard, get you in the guillotine. So that's something Diego's got to look out for. But Diego Lopez has subs of his own. Look at that nasty armbar right there.
Yeah.
And then, but he's got good striking too. Oh shit, I skipped one. There's another armbar right there. Holy fuck, that's nasty. God damn. I think this might have been one where he broke it. I don't know. I think he might have broke this one. But yeah, he's got that nasty striking too. And that's Ortega gets hit a lot. He always gets hit, no matter what. He takes damage. He comes out with his face busted up, whether he wins or loses. So he's got to watch out for Diego, because Diego is sneaky with these fucking. As you can see, he's running in with this uppercut here. He's on the move, you could tell, and he's sneaking in punches like that can be devastating. So, but does he have enough power to drop Ortega or finish him? I don't know.
If it's early enough, he might.
Yeah, for sure. But Ortega's got that chin, dude. He's got that chin and he survives. So it's frustrating. Even to watch, honestly. So yeah, that's Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega on this one. And this one might change too. This one's pretty fucking even. It's a pick'em type fight. But I did pick Diego Lopez. I love Brian Ortega. I think he's dope. He's a good dude, and I followed him for a long time. I just don't know if the younger fighter, if he's going to be able to get the best of the younger fighter who might be quicker than him overall. So
it lasts longer potentially.
Yeah. So for now, my pick is Diego Lopez. Plus, similar last name. So It sounds the same, but spelled different. That's why I say similar. Now we get to the main event, the light heavyweight championship bout between Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska. This is the second time they fought. Alex Pereira being the current champion. Yuri Prohaska was I think he was a champ at one point in time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember if it was interim or not, but I'm pretty sure he was the champ. So, this is the second time they fought each other. Alex won the first fight. That was just like by basically just knocking the shit out of him with elbows as Yuri was trying to take him down. It was nasty. It was like 14 fucking elbows to the side of the head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. It was a lot. But Alex has been on a tear, man. He's like only has 8 fights in the UFC, and fucking he's already a 2-division champ and fought like everybody. So and they're already talking about the fact that if he wins this one, he might be up there for possibly becoming the first 3-division champion ever. Because if he moves up, which he really could move up to heavyweight, and get the title there, shit, that makes him a 3-division champ, something no one's ever done.
It'd be worth some money.
Yeah, for sure. And even if his run is short, that's a pretty impressive run.
Yeah, you made a name for yourself.
But I mean, he's already 36 years, 35 or 36?
36.
Yeah. I mean, so he's getting up there in age. So, I mean, it might be a short run, but if he can achieve all that, I mean, that's a hell of a run. So, and he was a high level kickboxer, multiple time champion. He's got so many fucking championship belts. It's insane. So, and he beat one of the best middleweight fighters in Israel Adesanya, even though Adesanya got his revenge, came back and beat him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's where he started. So he beat.
I didn't realize that was the same dude. Yep.
Yeah. In the middleweight division, and then he comes up to the light heavyweight division and gets that title too. So, I mean, this dude's pretty impressive. Fucking, but Yuri Prohaska is one of those crazy guys, samurai type dude. That's what he calls himself.
His hair.
Yeah, his hair's crazy.
Man bun on steroids.
And he does this like crazy ritual when he's in fight camp where he goes like 3 days in the dark. So he's like in a room that has a bathroom, a shower, and a bed. And he's in total darkness and stays there for 3 days straight. So he'll shower, he'll sleep, obviously uses the bathroom because he eats and drinks too, but sits there in total darkness and meditates and shadow boxes.
I don't know how you shadow box in the dark, but I could get the rest of it.
Right. Yeah. So apparently that's how he spends his time. That's what he does. So it's crazy.
Whatever gets his mind right, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, so Pereira's 0-1 in submission, so that's a notable thing right there because Yuri has 3 submission wins and only 1 loss there. But look at the KO TKOs, 26-3 for Yuri. Fucking Pereira's only 8-1, but that's because he just got into MMA. So, you know, his fight record is crazy, but his MMA record's not because he's only had 12 total fights in MMA.
So which one are you going for?
34. What's that?
Which one are you going for?
My pick in this one is going to be Alex.
Alex?
Yeah, the current champ. I'm sticking with him. Now, Cold Art Maker in the chat said he was picking Yuri to knock him out. So we'll see how that goes because it is a possibility. But you know, Alex Pereira's got this. This is against Izzy when he won the middleweight championship, and he's got these crazy, like real tight, short fucking left hook that if he landed on you, he's got some of the biggest punching power in all of the UFC, MMA overall, I think. But yeah, this is one of my favorites because he's punching the shit out of Sean Strickland.
Right.
And then there's this nasty uppercut here against fucking Jamal Hill, which was his last fight. That big knockout he had a few months ago, actually. It wasn't that long ago. But this is him getting a submission on Yuri Prohaska in their last fight, which he almost fucking ended it right there. He had it deep, and he could have got his first submission win in the UFC there, but Yuri got out of it. So, but Yuri's just a crazy dude too with these crazy spinning back elbows. He does all kinds of shit. Yeah, that's against Dominic Reyes right there. He's got kicks. He does it all when it comes to striking. So big kick there, big knee here against Glover Teixeira, which that's right. He beat Glover for the belt, and then Pereira came back and beat Yuri for the belt after that, because Glover Teixeira is like Alex Pereira's fucking coach and mentor. So he pretty much like avenged his loss against Yuri.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's a big hit against Alex, which so he did land on Alex a couple times, pretty flush, as you can see there. So
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, it's gonna be a pretty good fight, I think. But here's my picks for the overall, and as of today, these are the odds in DraftKings. For
Do I
today.
need to screen capture this?
Yeah, go for it. It's on YouTube to look back at too. But for right now, without any changes, my initial thoughts are Alex Pereira, he's -120 favorite. So I'm picking him. Diego Lopez in the co-main event is a -105, but that's like a pick'em fight because I think Brian Ortega was at like -115 or something. So then you got Roman Dolidze at +105 underdog against Anthony Smith. Myra Bona Silva is a +140 underdog against Macy Chiasson. And then Ian Gary's a +120 underdog against Michael Venom Paige. So the majority of my fights that I picked are actually underdog picks, which would put me at plus money for the parlay overall. So it should be a good bet if I actually take it. I'm going to make up my mind by the end of the night so I can get these odds if that's the case. And then, but you know, tune in on Saturday for the Watch Party podcast and see what we all do for our bets, because I'm pretty sure Clark will bet. Infinity's probably going to bet the total opposite of me because it's a good
Possibly. Depends on how much he changes.
Exactly.
It's possible.
And then you can find out on Saturday whether I stick to these picks or if I change anything. But that'll be Saturday night, 7 p.m. Arizona time, when the main card for the UFC 303 pay-per-view has started. That's when we will start streaming. What else you got?
I like it. How about shout out to Roy Jones Jr. for his son who committed suicide.
Yes.
And he's actually Roy Jones, you know, is a strong person, but mental and anybody with kids, that's a whole different, you can't just fight that off. Like if I have a child and I wouldn't be the same person. I'm not even going to say what it'd be like, but I wouldn't be the same person. I don't know the background, but I know that he's not here anymore. So my hat's off to him for doing what he's doing to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, and condolences to the family too, because that's fucking rough. I couldn't even imagine. I have 2 kids of my own, and I don't know what I would do if something happened to them. So,
yeah,
pretty sad circumstances all around too. So that sucks.
Mental health, like that shit is real. I know some people joke, especially us being men and talking about fighting and all this, but mental health is real. And there's real issues that need to be addressed. I don't care, president, government, I don't care about none of that shit. This affects anybody. Doesn't matter how old, how much money you got, none of that.
Yeah.
It affects everybody.
And everybody struggles, and I'm included in that. That's why I try to talk about it whenever I get a chance. You know, I'll be like, damn, I had a fucked up day. Even just something as small as not even getting into the whole detail or context or any of that, just saying it out loud that it was rough today. That helps people. Even if because if they're holding it in and they hear you say it, it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad. I'll just be like, hey, you know what? I had a rough day too. That might alleviate some pressure, take some weight off your shoulders, just to be able to say it out loud. You know, some people don't understand the effects of holding things in. And I know I've been guilty in the past, in the present, and I will be in the future. But for the most part, I try to let out what I can when I can. And you know, you got to blow off that steam a little bit, no matter how you do it. Hopefully it's in a safe way most of the time. But yeah, as long as you let it go, it helps you. It helps everyone around you.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Just, you know, you never know what that person next to, male, female, whatever, you never know what they're going through. So just keep that in mind some days when you see people like, I want to, you know what? You don't know what they're going through. Like
Yeah.
when you see the news that might have been, you don't want to be that guy or gal or whatever that was the last one that pushed him over the edge. Just because
Eh,
you never know. I'm just putting it out there because suicide is self-inflicted, whatever the cause is.
Yeah.
Something pushed them to feel like they couldn't turn anywhere else, and that's what they did. So
And a lot of people have their own struggles that they can deal with on their own, and that's why it's important to talk about it with somebody, whether it's a stranger, a friend, a therapist, somebody, somebody that's going to help you or that's just going to sit there and listen to allow you to vent, because sometimes that venting is a thing. The word itself means to
mhm.
whatever it is. So venting is a thing for a reason, because it allows you to release what's on your brain, release the pressure on you, release the stress. And if things don't have a vent, then they get built up. So there's a meaning in a lot of the catchphrases and things that we all say. So sometimes you have to take it for what it is. And sometimes letting it all go and letting it all out, it makes you stronger, even if you feel like you look weak. So it's just something to think
Absolutely.
about.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm not trying to end it on a sad note, but this is
No, not
life.
at all. Not at
Like
all.
this is real life, and this affects more people than people will admit. And that's just someone that we're on a fight podcast. This is something that happened recently, like in the last couple days. So
Yep. And it's
that's
and it's something not enough people talk about. So I don't give a shit if somebody calls me a pussy or says shut up, I don't want to hear about your crybaby shit. I don't care.
yeah,
Because when it comes down to it, it does help me, and I have noticed that in the past, and I will remember that in the future. It's something that I need to do, and I tell people that all the time. My wife knows that if I can talk to her about it, and even if she doesn't want to hear it at the moment, that it's going to help me like it helps her when she talks to me about things. So even if it's someone like that, a friend, a spouse, anything.
absolutely. I'm a single guy, so I don't have some of the same resources he does. But that doesn't mean that we don't have issues.
Right.
We, as in us, as people, human beings. So anyway,
Yeah. So
just
be
take
be
that with
be
you.
there for your friends, be there for your acquaintances, and don't be the asshole that pushes somebody over the edge. Because it's
Pretty
real.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty
So
much.
anyway,
So yeah,
yeah, it's a good note to end on, even though it's sometimes some of it's sad. But yeah, it's a
it's
good note to
reality.
end on, and it
It's the
is
reality we
reality
live
for
in,
sure.
and I can't wait for Saturday. I will physically be there, and he's gonna make me a beverage or five with that whole bar that's behind him. That actually the time has moved and changed and everything.
Yeah.
And that'll also be the furthest I've traveled in 4 or 5 months.
Damn.
So we'll
Yeah,
see
with
how
the
that goes.
injury and everything, man.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm glad. I mean, we've never met each other in person, so it's kind of crazy. You may not know
true,
that
true,
people.
true.
We've never met each other in person. I've met Tommy in person before, because back in the day, because my brother-in-law is his brother. So if you ever
Right.
seen Cremo on here, Christo, he and on the Technically Unsound podcast, that's Tommy's blood brother, and that's my step brother. That's my brother-in-law. So yeah, so like I've met Tommy before, but I've never met Magix. But we played on Xbox back in the day in the clan with all the boys. So
Yeah.
that's how I know all these guys. But me and Infinity, me and Magix never met in person. So Infinity's coming up this weekend. We're gonna be watching UFC 303 live and reacting live on the Watch Party podcast. So come back here Saturday 7 p.m. during the main card and watch our live reactions, listen to us talk shit and laugh a bunch and have some drinks. It'll be fun. Can't wait for it. And yeah, don't forget. And then next Thursday, come back here as well, so we can recap and talk about all the crazy shit that happened over the watch party over the weekend.
I can't wait. Sounds like fun.
Hell yeah. And Technically Unsound podcast will be live on Sunday as well. So you'll get a bunch of podcasts from us today, Saturday, Sunday. Check it all out. Like, subscribe, share with a friend, do all that good shit. And don't forget to come back Saturday and next week. Check it all out. We're out of here for now. Take it easy. Peace. Appreciate it, Infinity. See you Saturday.
Thank you. Later.
We're out. Later.